Bum, bum. Okay, so I'm going to give everyone a welcome. John, thank you so much for reaching out and having this event happen. My name is Sarah. I work for a company called We Hero, and our goal essentially is to make volunteering as easy as possible. We're always trying to help just make the biggest impact we can and just make it accessible for everyone so they are able to, in turn, make a difference for others. The event that everyone is participating in today is Art for Social Equality. This event will be supporting the National Cares Mentoring Movement. I'm going to share a little bit about them, and then I will introduce and pass off to Brandon, and he will take it away. So everyone make sure you have your art kits, your sketch pads ready for creation, because that time is coming. Okay, so National Cares. National Cares is a pioneering community mobilization initiative that directly addresses the life-threatening effects of intergenerational Black poverty and lays a blueprint for community recovery. They are anchored by a 58 U.S. city affiliate network, and their mission, they are the most nation's recognized leader in recruitment, training, and engagement of African-American mentors. They are actually the only organization in the United States that provides a holistic programming on a national scale to advance Black children growing up in poverty. Their work provides children and low-income parents with emotional, social, academic, and career readiness that they must have to become self-sustaining, successful contributors to their family, community, and to society. They assist in the often forgotten Black and Brown people, and they serve to build bridges to a brighter future that they have so long and deserved. All right, and that is just a simple little blurb about them. There is more that I can share, and we can talk about kind of their power and their movement throughout the process. But for now, I'm going to pass it off to Brandon. Brandon is the artist from Soul Palette. He has been a lead artist for 30 years, and he was the project manager for the Black Lives Matter mural in Cincinnati, and he will take it from here.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you, John, for having us. We appreciate being able to do this with you all. Again, my name is Brandon Hawkins, co-owner, lead artist of Soul Palette. I've been doing this for about 5.5 years. Me and my wife have been running this business for a while, and so we do a little more than just sip and paint parties. We also do commission art and murals around the city. And like Sarah said, we were blessed to be able to be part of the Black Lives Matter mural downtown Cincinnati, which we like to think is the best one in the country. Fighting. Isn't that what they say? The kids say fighting. No, I don't want you to fight me for real, though. I can't fight. But we were blessed to be able to do that, and the business has taken off from there. We were able to talk to a lot of people while doing that mural about social injustice, social issues, and today we'd like to do the same thing with this piece of art that we're working on today. Now, what we're going to be doing is what we like to call the unity and love fist, right? So I know we had Lorraine, who is she's just listening and so hard that she's not able to move over there in the corner. Lorraine is paying so much attention. She told us that, she kind of has a background done for this. I can't wait to see how all this jives together on her piece. But this is the piece we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to draw that. And then I want you to be thinking about what kind of colors you want to use to evoke whatever emotion or to speak to whatever social justice platform that you want to speak to. Now, throughout the piece, I'll be showing you how to use the tools you have in your kit. You've got colored pencils, you've got regular graphite pencils, 2 regular graphite pencils. You also have watercolor, and you've got oil pastels. So I'm going to show you how to use those tools to create this piece. And hopefully you got this really nice kit. And I would say for you all that have your kids with you, you messed up. You messed up. You got these beautiful kits. You shouldn't have done this in front of the kids, because now the kit is there. So you can forget about it. It's gone. Okay. Or if you're like, your kids are like my kids, they may not, just blatantly take it from you. You might just come back to draw one day and you're going to see little bite marks in the pencils. No, you don't have rats in your house, they're your children biting on the pencils. That's how my kids do. So we'll get started. Everybody go ahead and grab your sketch paper or sketch pad, get your fresh sheet of paper out and get your pencil. Make sure your pencil is sharpened and you need an eraser as well. You should have all this in your kit. Now, if you are going to use a pencil from the kit and maybe not like a mechanical pencil or your own pencil, try to grab the pencil that says HB. You got an HB and a 2B, right? The HB is has a less hard, the lead is harder, which means the line is going to be lighter. So we want light lines. So as I show you how to do this, I want you sketching everything very lightly because dogs don't steal them. Yeah, dogs probably don't steal your art supplies. They just eat them, right? So there's no chance of getting them back then. But so you want to be able to erase some of your lines. So we're going to do this very lightly. All the sketching we do, we want to do this really lightly. So you want to hold your pencil toward the back of the pencil, maybe the middle to the back, just so you're not choking up on it and you're not pressing down so hard and creating dark lines that can't be erased. All right, so here we go. I am going to use my dry erase board so that you will be able to see this a little better and we can get started. Let's see. So, and I have a dry erase marker. So the first thing I want you to do is we are going to create a line of symmetry. And we're going to draw a line from the top of our paper, and we want our paper in portrait mode. And of course, that means your paper is going to be taller than it is wide. And that is probably the worst straight line I've drawn to date. So I'm going to try that again. No, officer, I haven't had anything to drink tonight. I'm going to draw this straight down the paper a little better. Boom. Right there. I think that's a little better. Okay, so basically what this is somebody hasn't sharpened a pencil in years. That's funny. Remember back in the day when they used to have them on the end of the desk and you had to be over there, or they had them by the door and you'd get up in the middle of class and like disturb class, like try to do it real slow to keep it quiet. They don't nothing about this nowadays. So we got our line of symmetry. And speaking of back in the day, I know we can think about back on Valentine's Day in school when you know people like John and Robert, you know what I mean, they got millions of Valentine's cards just thrown at them. You know, the ladies were just throwing Valentine's Day cards at them. I know nothing about that, but you all should know how to construct a card. So we're going to do something similar. So instead of folding that piece of paper in half, we've got our line of symmetry. So the next thing we're going to do, you remember, we always had to cut the heart out. So you got to cut half of the heart out. We're just going to draw half the heart. So when I sketch, and let me say this too, we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room at the top of the paper. So I'd say maybe about the top third. Let's not draw on the top third of the paper. So maybe from here up, we'll leave that open. So I'm going to start my heart down here. And when I sketch, I tend to get a little scratchy with it. My heart is a little hairy because that's just kind of the way I sketch. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Even when I was a kid and I started drawing, one of my art teachers was like, Brandon, why are there so many little scratchy lines in there? You know, and another art teacher was like, don't listen to them. She'll be gone next week. Just do whatever you're going to do. Okay. So you got half your heart. Now let's go ahead and do the other half. We'll start right here in that same place on that line of symmetry. Try to reach up just as high without getting into that space, but we're going to do a little extra a little later. And get all the way around and meet that same connection point right there. And I am getting better and better with my hearts, making these things symmetrical. It's strange to be drawing this from this angle and not have it right in front of me. So a lot of times, you know, I have a thin side of the heart and a thicker side of the heart. Let me see, you can use the 2B, okay. Yeah, so the thicker side of the heart usually kind of looks like it's the post-COVID side of the heart. You know, you got the times and right in early March when you were out running and trying to get it together. And next thing you know, this COVID hit, we locked in and everybody is snacktastic. We all in the drawers, eating up everything and trying not to catch the COVID-19, but I think I might have gained the COVID-19. Okay, so we got our heart done. So I'm going to switch colors real quick so we can kind of see step by step what we're doing. The next thing we want to do is we want to start creating this fist and these fingers. Now, when I look at this fist, I see a bunch of shapes. And it's easier to break things down into shapes. That way we'll be able to kind of, break, we'll stop it from being so intimidating. That's the one thing I really like about art is that, and teaching art, is that a lot of people don't think they can do it until you start to kind of break things down into shapes and make this all a little less intimidating, right? So watch this. I'm going to start here on my line of symmetry. I am going to follow this heart shape in creating this oval, which is really my pointer finger. And I'm going to reconnect on that line of symmetry. And I've got me a nice ovular shape, or I've got the pointer finger. All right. So that's your first digit, first finger. All right. Same thing with the next one. We're going to use the middle finger here. This is the finger, Samantha never uses this finger when she's driving. This finger stays on the steering wheel. Okay, Samantha never puts this finger out of the door or the window of her car. We're going to start right here on this line of symmetry, another oval, but it's going to overlap the pointer finger a little, touch the outside of the heart, and then come right back around. All right, just like that. All right, third finger, ring finger, starting on that line, and we are going to overlap again. We're going to overlap the middle finger, touch the outside of the heart, come back around, reconnect. Now you got the ring finger. And then lastly, the pinky finger starts the same way, overlaps, but the pinky finger is going to kind of go outside the heart shape. We just want to create a little bit of interest. So I'm going to start here on this line. I'm going to start reaching up, overlap the ring finger. And this time I'm going to come outside that heart and then reconnect there. Just like that. So now we've got all four fingers that are on the hand, right? Because the thumb is not a finger. The thumb is a digit. So is the fingers are digits. I always ask kids when I'm teaching them in school, how many fingers you got on each hand? 5. No, you got 4 fingers, 5 digits. And of course, the thumb is probably the most important digit that we've got on our hand, because it allows us to grab and grip. It allows us to, hold things. And for those of us who are artists, if the art thing doesn't work, the thumb always helps us get around a little bit, right? So we'll go ahead and we're going to start with this thumb. I don't think they got that one, Sarah. I tried to run through it real quick. I don't think they didn't catch that.
So, one day it'll work.
Yeah, right. So we're going to start with this thumb, and I like to put the thumb out here in space. But what I like to do is I like to have this thumb kind of overlap a little teeny bit of that index finger, the pointer finger, and then also some of the middle finger. Because if you make a fist right now, you'll see that, your thumb covers up your pointer finger and your middle finger. And it's still just another ovular shape out here in space. And the one thing I like to do is I like to leave a little bit of space in this area, just, so we can add some color later down the line, right? So we've got our 4 fingers. We've got the portion of the thumb done. Now, what we'll also do is we're going to create the back of the thumb using what's called a tangent, right? So a tangent is kind of like a line that really just smoothly comes off of a rounded shape. And so this one's going to kind of look like a backwards S. So if you can kind of imagine if you had a line, or you could see the orbit of something coming off of the back of this thumb shape and just slowly kind of came out of the orbit and then starts the S shape and boom, dead ends into the side of the heart. That's going to give you the back of your thumb, and it kind of rolls down into your wrist. All right. And then now we're going to do that meaty part of your inside of your thumb, inside your palm right here. And what I like to do is I kind of just start right here around the middle of that shape. And yeah, thankful for erasers. So I'm going to start drawing that rounded shape, and it's going to get close to the line of symmetry, but doesn't hit it quite yet, and starts to double back and hits the side of the heart, just like we did before. And we're getting real close to being done with the construction of our unity fist, right? And so at the top here, I kind of like to do a bit of a little quarter round circle to get that to link up with the top portion of the thumb. So you can see it there, right? So we just connected that. All right, so here we go. One of the last things we're going to do is I like to try to make the thumb look a little more like a thumb and less like more like a human thumb and less like, you know, one of Mickey Mouse's, you know, mitts, right? With all these big, you know, rounded fingers. You know what the funny thing is as I look at all these images of everybody working so hard, I keep looking at Wendy Cooper, and I'm like, man, Wendy thinks I am hilarious. Like, I just keep looking at this image of her, and I'm like, man, this lady just is laughing the whole time. And I'm like, Brandon, you're a dummy. So the next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna put Wendy's gonna say something. Go ahead, Wendy. No, nothing, Wendy?
No.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
She's Canadian. She's too nice.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of direction on the thumb. So instead of that top portion of the ellipse kind of being rounded, we're going to make it, you know, dip down. So watch this. So we'll basically kind of give it this bit of a hooking shape on the top. And what this also does is it creates a little bit of a fingernail. So, you know, you got the top of the thumb that hooks, and then you can kind of draw a point here, and then you can just connect that ovular shape you've already got. Makes it look a little more realistic. All right. So now all we've got to do is start erasing, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the first line that I drew here. I'm not going to get rid of all of it, but I'm going to start down here at the bottom. I'm erasing my line of symmetry all the way up through the hand. Boom, boom, getting rid of all of that. And then I'm going to stop right there because we're going to do a little bit on the top portion here in a second, and we kind of need that line of symmetry. We'll erase that too eventually, but we'll leave it there for right now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start getting rid of pieces of this thumb. So this back portion here where you got this quarter of the ellipse, we don't need that. Let's get rid of it. All right. Then you got this top portion of that rounded shape of the ellipse where we kind of took and put a little bit of a hook in it. We don't need this rounded section here. So we'll get rid of that. All right. And then so your thumb is resting on top of the middle finger and or the pointer finger. So if there's any of that portion of those two fingers that is being seen through the thumb, we want to erase those lines. So all you got is the thumb left. All right. And so then your next step is going to be to kind of go down the line here with the fingers. So with the fingers, you got the pointer finger resting on top of the middle finger. So this line where the elliptical shape kind of goes through the pointer finger. We'll get rid of that. Then you have the middle finger resting on top of the ring finger. There is a portion of the ring finger ellipse that needs to be erased. It's kind of overlapping into the middle finger. Let's get rid of that. And then you got the ring finger resting on top of the pinky finger. And that little portion of the elliptical shape of that pinky finger can be erased. Gives you a little perspective. And now what we'll do is we're going to start erasing what we call the form here. And this heart shape is kind of holding these fingers into place. We don't need that anymore. So right here where the heart shape starts inside that pinky finger, start erasing there and just start working your way up. So this whole red line, I'm getting rid of this all the way up. All the way up and around here. Until all I have left is my unity and love fist, right? So some of y'all are looking like, oh snap, I actually did that. I can draw. So, you know, John, if you notice Monday, half your staff is here, you know, you can blame me for it. You know, they all quit and decide to just become full-time artists. You can blame me for it.
Where are we traveling to? I'm curious.
Hey, wherever you want to. It all depends on how much you sell this piece of artwork for. You know, once you put this on Etsy and I mean, you start seeing the ducats, you start seeing that money come in, you know, some of y'all might be in Dubai on Monday morning. I don't know. Having $50 McDonald's cheeseburgers, you know. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is this. This is one thing about art that I really like is that, you know, you can choose to be very subtle with your art and, you know, have your art kind of tell the story itself, or you can have people kind of come to your piece and be able to read almost like commercial art, be able to read what it is you're trying to say in your piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that. And I'm going to teach you a quick, really basic graffiti lesson. When I teach in Cincinnati Public Schools, I teach the kids graffiti. I'm not a graffiti artist per se, but you know, I love to show the kids how to design different styles of font. And I even take a fake brick wall to each school and give the kids spray cans, and we go to town. And that's actually the last lesson I did before in person before we got quarantined. So I'm missing that. So what we'll do is this. I want you to think of a word that will describe the piece you're going to do. I know Lorraine was giving us an artist statement before we started, and she may, you know, have something to connect to this book that she was talking about. But what I want you to do is try to make it a short word, right? It doesn't need to be more than 5 or 6, you know, 5 letters long. I'm just going to do the word love. Okay. So what I'd like to do first is I like to figure out, well, what space am I working in? Right. I may, you know, create a little box here, and I always like to kind of arc the box that I'm working in just so it's a little more interesting. Right. And so I know I've got 4 letters in my word. So first I'll separate it in half with my line of symmetry, and then I'll break those 2 boxes in half. And now I've got 4 boxes for the 4 letters of the word love. So of course, now I can just go in and I can do the word love, just 1 letter each box. L-O-V-E, L-O-V-E. Now, the reason I do this is, you know, whenever I teach in the school systems and whenever I teach graffiti, kids have a tendency, and people do this too. I know we've all probably tried to, do kind of, font or write bubble letters and things like that. And you end up creating something that you really like until you get to the end of the page and realize, oh, shoot, I've got 2 more letters to put on this paper and I only have this much space. And so like your E would be, like on Weight Watchers, it would be like the skinniest letter on the whole page, and now it looks goofy. But if we break these boxes up on here, now we know everything is, and we can start getting artsy fartsy. So what I'll do is I'm going to start erasing. I don't need this these boxes here anymore because I know I've got my letters where I want them to be. Right? So everything is where it should be. Now I can decide to do yeah, you could do 3 letters. That would be fine. Yeah, if somebody want to do BLM or USA, whatever you want to do. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch a color, and I can basically put skin on the bone. That's what I call this, the skin and bone method. So now we've got the bone here, which is the letters just written out. Now we want to put some skin on it. So you can do block letters or you can do bubble letters. I'll kind of break this up half and half so you can see what both look like. So if I did bubble letters, of course, I am going to go around the outside of each one of these letters, and they would all have these really rounded ends, right, like that. And of course, the O, no matter whether it's block or bubble, it looks the same. And the cool thing is if I start to overlap, some of my letters overlap, that makes this thing more interesting. So, and then on letters that have holes in them, you want to make sure you put some skin on the outside and some skin on the inside here, okay? But when we get a good overlap, everything becomes even more interesting, all right? So these other letters, I'll go ahead and block these out. So you got this rounded L here, and now I'm going to give you a block letter V, and it is overlapping the O a little bit here. But every edge and every angle on this V has got a hard edge to it. That's the difference between your block and your bubble letters. But we want to make sure that we put a lot of good meat on this. Make these letters thick. Okay, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to have them, you stay too close to the bone and you're not able to put a lot of color in those letters when we get ready to start coloring the stuff in. All right, so once I've done this, I've got a good representation of the word love here. So what I can do is I can start getting rid of the bone. So I'm erasing this bone portion here. All this green, I'll get rid of all of that. And now what I'm left with is the word love, right? In a pretty simple graffiti style. You can read it and everything. So what I'll do is I can decide from here, kind of like we did with the fingers, I'll decide from here, do I want these letters overlapping? Do I want everything to mesh together? What letter is going to sit on top of another? So here I've got my letter L. So if my letter L is there, maybe I want the letter L to kind of sit on top of the letter O. So I'll get rid of a little bit of that O, just like we did with the fingers. And I think I'm also gonna erase a little bit of the L so it's, not in the way, giving us some dimension here. And then say I want my O to sit on top of the V. So I'll get rid of some of the V that was under there. And let's say I want my V sitting on top of the E. So I'll get rid of some of the E. So when you come up with something like this, basically you're able to fill in each letter with a different color or a different pattern or whatever you like. You can go another step further with this and you can just start to erase anything that intersects. So even this L, where the L and the O come together, I can get rid of that. The V and the O come together, get rid of that as well. And then also where the E and the V come together, I can get rid of that. And so you can still read it, but maybe you do some type of blending or an ombre within this, this full love shape piece. but you've got your unity and love fist, and you also have something to help explain the piece, whatever word you chose. Okay, so I'll let you go ahead and get that cleaned up. And while you're doing that, matter of fact, I guess I can leave this up so you can look at it a little bit. While you're doing that, I'll let Sarah go ahead and let's see. Okay, I see. Run some footage so you know that you're not just dealing with just some guy over here just talking and talking and talking. I actually do a little bit of art. So this is the Black Lives Matter mural that we did in here in Cincinnati. I was project manager over this. When the idea was brought to me and some of these other artists, we had 16 total artists, 17 artists, I believe, 16 or 17 artists, I can't remember. But we've got all these artists. They came to me and they asked me, you know, Brandon, do you want to do a letter? And I was like, cool, I'll do a letter. And then because I do a lot of murals around the city, the next thing I know, they were asking me to do an actual or be the project manager, right? So I got to lead the entire job, but I was crazy enough to think that I could actually do a letter as well. So I've decided, all right, I'll make it easy for myself because, you know, back in college, I was good at burning brain cells, so I didn't want to forget. So I said, my name starts with the letter B. I'll just do the letter B. I won't forget that. So I did the letter B. The lady who helped us put all this together, his name is Alandis Powell. She was really pivotal in raising the money for us to do this. And she actually wrote a poem called We Want What You Want, which was describing the wants and needs of the Black community. And yes, I do have a close up of the letter B. We'll see it here in a second. But she basically, in the poem, it says, we want what you want. And there were actually like 16 or 17 lines of the poem. So each artist took a line and we incorporated that into the letter that we were assigned. And so mine was, I want to raise my family in peace. And so you'll see mine has a bit of kind of a graffiti-esque look to it. And it says family and peace. I'll be honest with you, I always say this, I had a very deep, detailed portrait I was going to do until they asked me to be the project manager. And I was like, there's no way I can do both of those at the same time. So I'll dumb it down a little bit. And so this is what we've got right here. So we got a lot of great aerial shots of this thing. I was amazed I always thought drones were like the toys of men growing through a midlife crisis. But you know, to see how these drones work and they're flying right over top of our heads and catching all these amazing shots, I was like, I have a new respect for those guys that know how to work those things. So these are great shots from the drone. So on the left, you'll see my letter B with the family and peace graffiti in it. I think it wasn't finished just yet. We added a few more colors, but I think this was a portion of time when it had actually been raining. So we were kind of off and on. It was amazing to see some of the dedication of the artists and the artist teams. And then we had like 150 volunteers who were out there where it would start raining, pouring down rain. Everybody would cover up their letter with some plastic. And then we all just kind of scurried off into the corners of these streets and these alleys like little rats in the neighborhood. And we just kind of waited for it to stop raining. The sun would come back out and we'd all get back out there. Nobody went home. It was a wonderful thing to see. So then on the right, you see a mural that I was asked to do, a window mural I was asked to do at a place called the Macaroon Bar. Now, somebody on here was talking about having cookies and something or other when we got started. This right here, if you ever had a macaroon, if you like cookies, oh my gosh, I was painting this mural in this window and I'm trying to do my best. I'm running in the mornings and stuff. And, you know, I come in there and I see these macaroons. I tasted one. I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I noticed like it's $25 for 12. I was like, you know what? That's perfect. That is perfect because I'm not doing that. Otherwise, I would just burn up all my mural money on these things. I said, I'm good. Then they started just giving them to me for free. And it was like, you all are not doing me any favors, especially if you let me, I take these home to my wife and my daughters. And then I start like getting an extra bag just to ride home with. So my family doesn't know I have extras. You know, how you buy McDonald's fries and I get an extra bag of fries and go home and I eat a bag of fries on the way home. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But so that was a mural that I did there. Now this is a street mural that I did in a neighborhood called Walnut Hills. Now, and we had the community come out and paint it. So you got to kind of, you know, calm it down a little bit so the kids can get out there and do their thing. This is the smaller portion of the mural at the crosswalk. And then there's a larger piece right here. This piece is about 150, 160 feet wide, and maybe about 45 to 50 feet from one end of the street to the other. Basically what it is this is a school. It's called Frederick Douglass Elementary. It's a school I teach at. And the neighborhood is a food desert. So they got rid of the grocery store in the neighborhood, and the kids are eating like hot fries and stuff all the time. It's really sad. But what they've done is they have built a garden across the street from this mural where the kids get to learn how to grow food, and then they also get to take some of the food home if they need to. So it's a huge garden across the street, and they wanted me to incorporate some of the garden and nature into the school mascot, which are the Panthers. These are two other murals I did. The one on the right I did maybe 3 years ago, and I taught a school called West High, which is funny. I actually went there today because they asked me to do some more murals in the bathrooms, and those murals get done really fast because that ain't somewhere you want to be for too long. But I was able to teach these kids, about 10 kids, and this is probably one of the roughest schools in the city. Teach these kids how to design murals, what kind of paint to use for primer, what to use on the colors and color theory. And so we learned how to do, I taught them how to do this. And I actually went back today after 3 years and found out that nobody has put any extra graffiti, which was part of the problem. They haven't put any graffiti on any of the bathroom walls that we did murals in. So they had me there today to, you know, get ready to do another class to teach the kids how to do the other bathrooms. The mural you'll see on your left is one I did last summer. And that is St. Francis de Sales Church in Cincinnati. That's also in Walnut Hills. A little nicer side of Walnut Hills than the other mural though. But I was asked to design the mural. And so I said, you know what, why don't I go ahead and put my daughters in this piece? So they're about 20, 25 feet tall. You can see me on the far left on that accordion, the green accordion lift there. I'm having a good come to Jesus moment up there on there because I'm about 6 feet from a 6-lane street, major street. And when that wind starts moving and you start, you know, rocking back and forth, it's not cool. But I brought my daughters by there after, you know, spending about 8 weeks getting that thing done. And my daughters were like, yeah, Dad, that doesn't look like me at all. Like, I have no idea who you thought you were painting. That's not me. That's not me. So thank you. So, and the little boy in the picture is a friend of mine's. And so I said, let me go ahead and put these kids up on the wall. They can have something to be proud of. And this right here is kind of my first love in art, and that is oil on canvas paintings. I love to do oil portraits of people. This is a friend of me and my wife, and thank you. These people are actually, the lady on the left is actually, I think, a professor at the University of Cincinnati, and her husband is like a whiz at IT, and he works at UC as well. So she is from Chicago. So you see the Chicago city skyline in her face, and then he is from Detroit. And so you'll see the skyline of Detroit going across his face. They call it the Tale of Two Cities. Somebody asked, can any of these be purchased? Some of the murals that I've got, like the one with my two daughters, I've got some professional drone shots, high resolution drone shots. So yeah, if you wanted to hit us up on our website, paintwithyoursoul.com, just kind of message us, and we can figure that out. We definitely can figure that out. All right, so everybody should have their pieces drawn out, cleaned up. And so I've got mine drawn out. So you can barely see it because I drew my lines really light. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about the colors that you're going to use, because now I'm going to show you how to use that particular medium. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use some colored pencil, right? So the colored pencil works like this. You want to find 3 colors, and you want to find a light, medium, and dark. In my case, what I'm going to use is the yellow, orange, and red, right? You don't have to use the same colors that I use. I would prefer that you use whatever comes to your heart, whatever direction you plan on going with this. But I'm just going to show you how to use these. So basically what I'm doing, I'm using colors that are kind of in the same family. So what you want to do is, if you don't use like a yellow, orange, and red, maybe you want to use a pink, magenta, and purple. Or maybe you want to use yellow, lime green, and dark green, or maybe like a light blue, like that. It's like a light, what is this? Does it even say anything? Yeah, it doesn't say anything on it. Maybe like a light blue, medium shade of blue, and a dark blue. Something like that. So you know what I mean? Light, medium, and dark, but all in the same family. I always like to say, you know, this is like when you go to the family reunion and, you know, you meet your cousins for the first time. They look exactly like you, but, you know, y'all don't know each other, right? We all look the same, but we don't really know each other. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that lightest shade. In this case, it's the yellow. I'm gonna hold this pencil toward the back of the pencil. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's not that I don't want to press down hard like we did with the sketching. What it really is that I want to be using the side of the lead so that I cover more surface area at one time. And I don't want to use the point, because if you use the point the whole time, you will be trying to fill this space in until tomorrow morning. And then you won't get to sell your piece on Etsy, make $1 million, and quit your job. That's not what's going to happen. So let's try to stick with the artsy technique. And matter of fact, I think I heard Lorraine mention earlier, or somebody mentioned, like, I'm not Bob Vila. That was kind of funny, because I think she was talking about Bob Ross. But you know, Bob Vila was an artist of his own right. You know, Bob Vila used to build houses. I like Bob Vila just as much as Bob Ross.
No,
So,
I meant Bob Vila because he painted like walls and stuff, and I'm not even that good.
Oh, okay, I got you. I like that though. So this is gonna be, I guess this is gonna be kind of more like Bob Vila. You know what I mean? We're gonna fill this space up, right? And so I like to kind of go with circular shapes, or not circular strokes, as I'm using my pencil. I think that just naturally happens, right? And so I'm
It's
just,
kind of
What
hard
are
to
we-
see.
what
Yeah,
are
it's
we
kind of hard to
coloring
see.
in? The pinky?
yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Because for me, I actually want to do the one in the pastel colors behind you.
What, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so here's the thing. I want you to do these colors any way you want to. I'm just showing you how to use each instrument. And then
Yep.
if you decide to use colored pencils, excuse me,
That's you.
if you decide to use colored pencils throughout the entire event, cool. If you want to use pastels and colored pencils and watercolor, or two, or what, I'm just want to show you how to use these. The colored pencils what they do is the colored pencils will cover smaller surface area. It will take a little longer, but it's a lot more detailed. You can get detail done a little better. The watercolor is just the opposite. You're covering larger surface area and you're not going to get as much detail. So you'll cover larger surface area faster. And your oil pastels are kind of middle of the road, right? So you'll end up covering a decent amount of surface area in a decent amount of time, and you get a decent amount of detail done, okay? So now that I've gotten my first color down, let's see, right? And I have just filled that entire pinky up with the yellow. Now what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna start working on the outside of this pinky finger with the medium color I chose. And in this case, it is the orange. And I'm still holding that pencil back pretty far. Now, at this point, you want to start thinking about your light source. Where is the light coming from? So if my light is coming from here and it's pointing down into this hand, what's going to happen is I am going to see a shadow cast from this ring finger onto the pinky finger. And I may even press down just a little harder just to make sure that that's a little darker. And I don't want to bring that orange too far into the middle of that shape, but I'm gonna start working my way around. And I'll create a bit of an orange boundary around the outside of this shape. And I'm really just going over the yellow that was on the outside, these outer edges of this oval. And we don't want to leave it where it's just kind of stark difference between the orange and the yellow, right? So now what we want to do is we want to start dragging a little bit of our orange into the yellow, but we want to use a lot less pressure. Just kind of softly start to blend your orange into the yellow space. And again, we don't want to completely get rid of the yellow in the middle because that's where all the light is hitting. But we can just very gently start to kind of massage that yellow or that orange into the yellow until we have a nice smooth blend from the orange into the yellow. All right. So after we've done that, we can take this red and start working our way in. And this is going to be the darker shade. So you may not have chosen red, but I got red here. This is my darker shade. And we're going to stay on these outer edges. And the good thing about this is, you know, if you got a nice sharpened pencil, the sharper the pencil is, even though you're working on the side of the lead, what it tends to do is it falls into all those little grooves. And you don't have as much texture going on. So it starts to give you a more full texture, or a smooth texture, and a full amount of color here on these edges. And I'm just starting to kind of work my red into the orange. Now we don't need to work the red all the way into where the yellow is. Just kind of start to build that orange or that red up, and then start to work that into the orange space. And just like we did with the orange into the yellow, just as you start to get closer, what you're going to do is lessen the pressure, and it'll start to really give you a nice gradient, a nice blend into that space. Now, colored pencils are, you know, the medium that you can really get lost in. You know, you have a rough day at work, you break this little kit out with these colored pencils in it, and I mean, you can really lose yourself out there on the deck. Or I'm sure probably Marlene, she probably has like a veranda overlooking, like, you know, the city and whatnot. So she's out there with the Chardonnay or whatever it is that she's sipping on. I'm probably telling on you, Marlene. But she might, yeah, she might be out there. Even if she's like me, maybe she's out there with some Jack Daniels or something, just kind of. No, none of that. Look, she shook her head real hard, like, no, my boss is on the call, sir. Calm down. Hey, Marlene, cheers. So you can just kind of lose yourself in the color pencil is what I'm saying. So if you want, continue with the color pencil, cool, that's fine. It will take a little while, but you get a really nice texture, a really nice, smooth, detailed piece. Now, what we'll go to next is I'm going to show you how to use the pastels. And here's a good thing you can do is we can go from this orangey, hot, red, yellow, orange, pinky finger that we've done. And, you know, you can go into another shade. Maybe I'll go into something a little more cool. So again, I'm going to grab the cousins, but this time they're a little cooler cousins, right? These are, they're in the same family. I got a little bit of a white, I got a light blue, and I got a darker shade of blue, kind of purplish, blue purple color. But this time I'm going to start backwards. I'm going to start with a darker shade first. And I'm not going to fill the entire shape. I am going to start on the outer rim of this shape. And I am going to create my little shadow here. Keep on going around, filling this in the best I can until I get me a nice little ring around this area here, right? And then I'll grab my second color, my medium shade, and do the same thing, except I'll start right on that edge where the darker shade of blue stopped, and maybe even overlap just a little bit, because we are going to end up blending this together, and it'll kind of do it on its own if you overlap it a little bit. And with this particular color, I kind of like to leave whatever's left as a very small area, because I'll probably, you know, the white is the same color as the paper. So, you know, we kind of will throw some white in here in the middle, but it's easier to fill that space when the space isn't so big. So I like to make it a smaller space, right? So there we go. So now for all my real artists, like Lorraine and, you know, Heather and Joyce, who has been on witness protection program since we got started with the call. You know, all of us who love to do art and you like to get your hands messy, this is for you. So now what we'll do is we'll stick our finger in that lighter area and we'll start to smudge that white or whatever lighter shade that you chose to use. Just kind of move that around within itself and then start taking that lighter shade out. And you may even do circular kind of blending strokes with your finger to get this to blend together. But our objective here is to get rid of all of those little white spots where the pastel did not touch the paper. And you are forcing the pastel into all those little grooves. And that way you get a very rich and filled space. It's very smooth. And that's one of the things I love about oil painting, oil pastels, is the texture is very pretty. That's how you end up getting that kind of airbrushed look, right? All right, so here goes the last technique I'm going to show you. Now, you want to have a little cup of water to do this. And what you'll do is you'll take that brush that you got in your kit and you're going to dip this. You're going to purify this brush in the waters of, do I have anybody from Minnesota on the call? I'm purifying my brush in the waters of, somebody finish my sentence.
Lake Minnetonka.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I was about to say, I need to know what kind of people I'm talking to here on this call. All right. Is your name pronounced Dara?
Try again, Dara, just to keep it interesting.
Wow. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's what is that how they say Dara?
Yes.
Exactly. I like that. I have a cousin, Dara, and that's why I was like, I wonder how you pronounce that, Dara.
Yeah,
Ooh,
she must be a wonderful person.
Okay. Moving forward. No, she's cool people. She's cool. So I'm gonna make sure I get my brush wet. Now I'm gonna figure out which color that I want to use, right? And again, I'm gonna choose 3 colors. So I don't think I've gotten into any green. So I am going to grab me a little bit of, and of course you got these little pots in your kit, right? I've taken the plastic off the top of there. And what you want to do before you get started is you want to prep these. So I'm going to grab a little water and I'm going to, massage a little water into that just to make sure they're ready to roll when I grab them. I got maybe a darker shade here. The only thing with these is you don't really know how light or dark they are until you put some water on. I think this will work right here though. I think what I got. But some of them are a little closer in color than we may expect. So here we go. We got this lighter shade. I can start with that first to grab me a little bit of that lighter shade. And again, like I said, the watercolor fills larger spaces better than it does the smaller ones. It's not the greatest for doing the smaller fingers. I mean, if you've worked with watercolors before, that would be cool for you. But if we're just getting started with these, watercolor, I usually like to use that just to fill in larger areas, especially for working quickly. But once I have reached a portion here that I'm happy with, maybe go up about a third of this thumb area, then I'll grab the medium shade. And while that lighter shade is still wet, I can kind of use that to blend my colors. Right? And, I'll use a painter's term. I used to manage a Sherwin-Williams paint store. And I know the painters used to always talk about keeping a wet edge. And that's kind of what we're doing here. As you want to blend the colors together, you want to make sure that the one color is wet as you go to grab the next shade of color to blend in there. And again, this is watercolor. So, I mean, if it kind of dries out a little bit, really all you got to do is kind of slosh a little bit of water on there with your brush. And you should be able to kind of wake it up a little bit. So I've got a wet edge here again, and now I'm going to use this darker shade. All right. Work my way all the way down to the end of this thumb. And as you lose water in your pot, you'll notice that your color becomes a little more rich, sometimes a little darker. And in most cases, that is a good thing. All right, so I've done a little bit of blending. Now realize you could have done this blend in the background. You could do it in the finger somewhere. I mean, it's up to you where you want to put each medium. You could do this in the letters. I just wanted to show you a few techniques on how you can use each one of these. And now I want you to go ahead and take your time and continue to fill these spaces in. Because remember, and I may not have said this before, but usually when I do murals and whenever I'm teaching, I try to show people that, look, all you're doing is filling in shapes with color. That's all this is. So don't look at this like you're painting a hand or drawing a hand or whatever. We are creating the shapes, and then we are filling those shapes with color. All right. And what ends up happening is this may seem a little daunting at the beginning, but you'll find that if you try to treat this like you're eating an elephant, which is, Robert, how would you eat an elephant?
Is that
One piece at a time.
Exactly.
Big fork.
Exactly. One bite at a time. I knew Robert would know that.
Yeah, of course.
I feel like we might come from the same school here.
For sure.
Yeah, one bite at a time. So a lot of times we'll be doing murals, and they don't make kids now like they did back in the 70s and the 80s. Like the kids are like, it's too hot. It's 80 to 83 degrees and I'm getting paid to do art and I'm hot. I'm ready to get down. I'm like, look, just treat this like you're eating an elephant. Finish this space, finish that one, and then come down, drink your little water and eat your Takis, and then go back up on the scaffolding, and you'll be amazed at how quickly this thing comes together. So let's see, I have got to see some of these works of art. And you know what? With a name like Dara, I'm sure your art, don't start shaking your head. I need some confidence. With a name like Dara, I want to say it again, Dara. You must have an amazing piece of art, and I know you're going to have an amazing artist statement.
I decided to do color pencil because I don't do color pencil very often. So I am still just plugging away with the shading.
So it looks like you're doing the 3 or the 4 fingers. You're into the 4 fingers.
Yeah, I'm doing them all the same, just sort of like this ombre kind of a thing. So I have to go back to them.
Beautiful. I like where it's going already. What is your thought process? Why are you using those colors?
They're just the colors I'm drawn to. I paint a little bit myself. I do abstract, so I always am in the oranges and the magentas and purples.
Very good. Wonderful. Okay, cool. And Dara used the word ombre that I don't use as much if I'm not painting, but let me see, can we add paint? Can you add paint over the pastels? Usually the watercolor paint that you got here is not going to work too well over oil pastels. So if you got any oil paint, which a lot of people are not going to have unless you're an oil painter, you can use that over there. I don't even think acrylic paint would sit well over top of this actual pastel. I know sometimes when I'm painting, I may have to throw an acrylic on top of an oil, but you can't do that with just every kind of oil and every kind of pastel. It usually doesn't work. It works the other way around though. You can put oil on top of acrylic, but so I won't get too deep with that. Let's see, there we go. Let's see, who else do we have? Oh yeah, the ombre. So listen, I have been doing blend, and ombre is a blend from one color to the next. And I've been doing ombres when I paint for a very long time now. I did not know what that was called. I didn't know it was called an ombre until my 2 daughters tricked me into going into the hair store and buying $160 of Beyonce lemonade ombre weave, right? So 11 and 8 years old, tricked me in there, $160, yes, for 2 kids. And something in me was like, when we walk out of this store, the hair is just going to attach to their head. Like $160, this is all I should be doing. But no, it was still in the bag when we walked out of the store. And then I had to spend another $160 to have somebody put this hair in. Oh my gosh. No, I'm like, you all got to get jobs. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing it. So let's see. Tracy, Michaud is the D side.
Michaud.
Michaud. Okay. All right.
Really
So how's yours coming?
Looks like I'm making a pickle as part of this. But
Ooh.
because I was trying to, I liked those pastel colors, but not quite. It's coming.
No, that's beautiful. That's very well done. No, you know what though? You were worried about the shape of the pinky.
Yeah.
Listen, your fist looks like, listen, it looks like it's saying Dara. Saying Dara. See? With the pinky out like that. I like that. That looks wonderful. So why did you pick the colors that you picked?
I think they're coming out darker than I wanted them to, but I actually think they might blend pretty well.
Yeah,
They're
those look really nice. That looks beautiful. It makes me want a bag of Skittles.
There you go.
Like the tropical Skittles.
Skittles.
Very nice, very good. Okay, let's see. Mr. Harris. I felt like when I just said your name, like you were in the back of the class asleep. Mr. Harris. Uh-oh, let's see. I think Mr. Harris is doing something. He's on a different project than the rest of us. Let me see. You have a background? Let me see. Oh, Mr. Harris is in the advanced class, y'all. I didn't realize we had Bob Ross on on
Just
the
a bit of
call.
an artist statement here, right?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it. What's going on?
So a bit of an environmental feel, right? Little sort of, various statement there. I don't know if you can see it that well. Looks like it's a little blurry.
You have a background on?
Yeah, I think I need to take that off. You're right.
Yeah, because you got a lot going on. When you're done, yeah, you can move on to the other portions of the heart or in between the fingers and the thumb there on the palm. You can move on to the letters, wherever you want it, whatever you want to do. Let's see. I think maybe while Mr. Harris is figuring that out, let me talk to the Jacobs family. It looks like somebody over there is serious about their art.
She is. Emery, do you want to show him? Show me. She's not ready yet for that.
Okay. Emery, her name's Emery.
Emery, yep.
Emery, listen, you should be proud of your work now. I'm sure you're doing an excellent job. You're working really hard over there. Your mother, I'm sure she's got 401k, but one of her 401ks is sitting in her lap right now. And so you need to get to selling that art, young lady. She wants to retire.
Yes. She wanted to know if you wanted to be an artist when you were little, like her.
You know what? I did want to be an artist, but I'll tell you, in the 80s and 90s, if you could draw, you were always told you need to go be an architect, right? Because who's going to make money drawing pictures? So I actually did start out in architectural college. And so I went to a highly accredited architectural school here in Cincinnati called DAP, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. And I would see these kids walking around and they had all these really cool projects over their shoulders or in their bags. And I'm thinking, like, what are you all doing? They're like, oh, we're in the fine arts major. I was like, I didn't know you could go to school for that. And so I immediately, without my parents' knowledge, I switched my major to fine arts. and the rest is history. So yes, Emery, you can be an artist for a living. I would say this: if you're going to be an artist, also take up some business classes.
There you go. That's
Definitely take up some business or some marketing or economics or something.
good. That's great. You want to show him?
Yeah, show me. No, Emery, maybe later. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. Emery, that's not yours.
It is.
Emery.
This one's mine.
Emery, you're in the let me see.
She did a lot better than I did.
Yeah, well, it's in the genes. It's in the blood. I can see. Y'all are very good. Emery, you did a wonderful job. I love the colors.
Thank you.
You did a great job. You don't want to talk about the colors at all?
Computer thing is weird to her.
Oh, okay. Man, let me tell you, when I was a kid, if they had this Zoom thing, I would be a totally different person. I'd be like,
yeah, thankfully she's been in daycare, so she hasn't had to do this.
Yeah. Understandable. All right, let's see. Okay, who do we got down there? Shannon. Let's see, whose is that? Whose piece is that? You gonna talk about your piece?
It's it says heart on the top.
This is Lucia. She's 6.
Wonderful.
And then I have my other daughter, Nora, who's 8 with me as well.
Very good. Hello, what's going on, ladies? How y'all doing?
Everybody hold them up.
Ooh-wee.
Lucia, where's yours? Yep, hold yours too. All
Very
right.
good, very good. Yeah, Rob, I'll do that again. Give me 1 second. Very nice. I see all these shading. Okay.
I used the blue green and blended the blue and the green together.
Very nice. What does that represent? Does that have any meaning to it?
Yeah, I made it so they kind of switch into a different color slowly.
Oh, okay. So that is an ombre or a gradient. Very good, very good, very good. So let me see. Somebody asked if I could show the color pencil again. So basically what I did was I chose 3 colors real quick. And I did a light, medium, and a dark. And so I think, let's see if I can maybe grab different colors this time. So maybe I'll grab the pink, magenta, and purple. And so what I did was I took the lightest color and I held it back here toward the back, and I just filled the space with the lightest color. And I may tend to, use some circular motions when I'm doing this. But holding your pencil on the side the way I am will help you to get this done a little faster. This is almost like I always kind of, I think I take my drawing techniques and I put them into my painting and my mural techniques. Whenever I teach murals, I don't allow my apprentices, when we first start painting, I don't allow them to use small brushes. I have a million brushes, but I'll make them use like the big 4-inch block brushes first, because the smaller the brush you use, the more you focus on the detail. And, we don't really need to be focused on detail when we first start a piece. We need to be focused on filling the space. And that's all we're doing right here. We're just holding that brush back and using the larger portion of the lid and not the point, which is the detail portion of the lid. And we fill in that entire space. And then I might take my second shade, which in this case is going to be the magenta. And I'm thinking about my light source and the fact that maybe a shadow might be getting cast onto this finger from the other finger. And I'm just really kind of working on the outer portions of this ovular shape. And I'm working that around the shape. And eventually I'm going to start working my way into the shape. Now I want to leave a little bit of that lighter shade on there, but I'm actually going to just start to let up on the pressure just a little bit so that I'm blending my magenta into the pink. But as I get to the outer edges of that shape, I might press down a little harder so that it's a darker shade of magenta. And then of course I'll go to my third color, which in this case is the purple. And I'm doing the same thing, except I'm not going to work my way as far into the space. I'm going to stay right here on these outer bounds. And kind of work this third color, the darkest color, into the medium color. And I would let my pressure up a little bit as I get closer into that medium shade. And it helps to create a bit more shape to that, it gives it some dimension, right? So it looks like the light is really kind of hitting in that middle light lit space, okay? Good, Rob? Cool. All right, let's see.
Brandon, unlike Emery, Charlie has no fear in wanting to share her art. Go ahead.
I love it.
Can you hold it up so that they can see it? Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, you tell them about it. Oh, Charlie's 3. That's what she wants you to know. 3.5.
Excuse us.
What colors did you pick? Pink and purple, because they're your favorite, and blue.
And purple and blue.
Also gray.
And black.
And black.
Charlie.
I choose gray and black because they're the medium colors of the rainbow when they're not there.
They're the medium colors. You told her to pick a medium and a dark color. So those are the medium and dark colors of the rainbow.
Very good, Charlie. Very nice. Way to sell it. Listen, I need whatever it is, I need 5 of them.
I mixed black with gray, and then I made like a grayish color, even darker.
You made the grayish color even darker. Here's the thing, everybody. Yes, the future president for sure. Here's the thing, everybody. Do we all realize that the younger sibling is always like they just don't care? Like there's no holds barred. My little brother is enough for everybody, and I'm like the very mellow one. So Charlie, kudos to you. I love your drawing. Very good presentation.
What do you say?
This little golden thingy.
Oh, and she made a little golden thingy at the bottom.
Okay, very good.
Little golden
Okay, can you say
thingy.
thank you?
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Nice, very good. All right, let's see who else we got. Okay, I just want to try to say Kim's last name. Harvu. Kim Harvu. Is that your real name or is that your witness protection name?
Both, but it's Harview.
Harview.
So you were really, really close.
I just didn't get I didn't do that part, the Harview.
Yes, exactly. So I'm doing let me see where my camera is here.
Nice. Well, I can see it now. There we go.
Yes, I'm really liking the painting.
Beautiful.
Oh, and I don't think, these backgrounds. Let me take mine off here. There we go.
Beautiful. Good. What's the word you put on the top of yours?
Equal.
Nice. Okay, that's a first. I've never seen that one. That's great though. So give us a little artist statement.
I think it's just kindergartner work. I'm not an artist, so I'm just trying all the different styles and see what works for me.
Okay.
So, and the colors kind of rainbow related, I think.
Okay.
I think that's the route I'm going.
All right. I love it. I still like the piece. I love the piece. And sometimes I'll tell you this, somebody who's gone to art school like I have, sometimes you can come up with the artist statement after you're done with the piece. And sometimes it even just comes to you after you're done with the piece. So very good, very good. Keep working. Let me see if I can find somebody on this other page I haven't talked to. Tina.
Hi.
Hello. How are we looking? How the piece coming?
This is Lexi. Lexi, do you want to show what you've done? She has paint all over her. But
Lexi, you are officially an art. Lexi, go ahead and turn the tassel. You will have graduated. You are an artist.
that's her. It's hard to see, sorry, because of the.
There we go.
That's Lexi's.
Very nice. Very
Yes.
good. Does Lexi have an artist statement of why she used the color she used?
Why did you pick those colors?
Because they match all together.
Because they match all together.
Okay. Hey, very simple. Very simple. Keep it simple. I like it. All right. I'm seeing some wonderful, wonderful pieces, having some great artist statements. I know we're getting pretty close to the end here, so I'm pretty sure Sarah is going to want to take a good few pictures since we got a few screens up here. So I'll let Sarah go ahead and do her thing.
Yes, so everyone, we've got about 5 minutes left during the event. If you could either put a wrap up whatever finger or area of the picture you are working on, or your image would be great, so I can get a screenshot of all of these. That would be absolutely wonderful. Again, I'll give a 1 minute warning for that. So everyone who is doing their image without their screen showing, if they feel up for showing, we would love it. And again, thank you everyone so much for being a part of this event. This event truly is about awareness and being open. And that's what's beautiful about everyone is you're taking the time to share and really learn about what you find meaning in and how to portray that through art. And that doesn't happen without you being open and accepting to learn, which, you know, the older we get, sometimes that can feel hard, and it's not. And this is just another way to show that. So thank you all so much. All right, all right, Robin showing hers. We like this. All right, we're gonna have to take a few screenshots because gosh, there are a whole party. It's a crew right now, and it is impressive. Look, everyone's taking their camera off. I love this. Oh my gosh. Let's see. We got Lynn wrote peace. Lori wrote kind. I love this. Unity here by Paula. This is so cool. Humanity. Robert went big with the words. Pride by John. I'm loving this. Okay. So a few screenshots are going to happen. This is like prom, your first wedding, your third wedding. This is all of them combined. We're so happy. All right. I love it. Okay. So first shot's coming up in 4, 3, 2, smiles and images. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, Paula, I'm impressed with this. Samantha, your colors are so full and beautiful. Heck yes. I love this. Be so proud. Lisa, you wrote care. I love it. Gosh, everyone put their best foot forward and this is amazing. Okay, next shot's coming up. We got 4, 3, 2, final one. Yes. Amazing. Oh, so good. Nancy, hold that up one more time. Heck yes, that looks so good.
These are really nice.
Oh my goodness. I cannot. John, your team is, yeah, you're not going to have anyone that's going to come into work on Monday. I think you got, Brandon gave him the idea. Don't come to me. Let's put it that way. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you all so much.
Cheryl Loring. What did you all do over there? Did y'all paint for real? Like somebody got real live paint over there.
No, that's my daughter. I did color pencil and my daughter did, she's got paint markers.
Wow.
Put yours back up, Maddie. That's it. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful.
Paula,
Thank you.
Paula ain't playing. Paula, very nice.
Yes. Thank you so much. And a way that you can continue supporting is posting this on social media. This is what's promoting a conversation between you, between friends, between strangers. This is about creating unity and us making a movement through art and through messages. So if you put it on social media, please post, tag National Cares in that, tag Soul Palette for Brandon, tag We Hero, tag your friends, tag your family, you know, let's continue the conversation. I'm going to end the recording. And again, thank you all so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
This was so wonderful. And I hope you all have the best day.